Yo, what's going on? We're back with the Vert podcast. We missed a little bit of time with the holidays and just life been catching up on both ends. I know for me, it's been wild. Just with still, I've been talking about it since we've been doing this podcast last couple of months with this move. It's been crazy. And then Christmas time and all the sports, we're still trying to catch up on it. But all in all, I'm doing great. How you feeling, E?
I'm doing well, doing well. Christmas was nice. It was a nice little break from work. I had that entire week off besides the Friday after work, which is a money day because it's very chill. Not too many people are reaching out to you, emailing on that Friday. So it's a nice little break from work, and I also did a little bit of a break from lifting, which is also nice too. Every now and again, I like to take like a week off and just let my body kind of recharge. So I'll get back to lifting tomorrow, and I'll be feeling sore again, like I just started lifting. So that will be good. But yeah, Christmas was good. We did miss last week. We're consistent, but last week, of course, was busy with Christmas for both of our families. So apologies on that. There was a little bit of NFL news going on last week. We didn't make our picks. Stefan said he made his picks, but I didn't make my picks. So I think we're gonna kind of just say that our record was, for the year. I think I was about 67% win percentage on money line, and he was 63, around 63%. So decent year for both of us as our first year picking money lines. But yeah. That's how I'm doing, and that's the little background on why we missed last week.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think we had the conversation and we're going to try to establish it for sure moving forward that we're going to do this on Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. over there in Ohio for Alex. And that way we can just have a time that we're consistent with that works well for both of us. We're both busy, got a lot going on, but we want to make this work. So the only way we can make it work is if we continue to be consistent and pick a time. And another thing that's on the horizon for us that we just spoke about is trying to get our content up on platforms outside of just YouTube and Spotify. Looking at some short platforms like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, etc. So look out for us there, and we'll keep you guys posted once we get all that established and set up. So you guys can give us a follow, give us a listen, engage with us there, and we can continue to have this fun conversations about sports and wins and losses and everything else. That barbershop talk is always fun.
Yes, sir. Thanks for filling us in, or filling the crowd in on what we're gonna do as far as moving forward. Mondays is when we're gonna record every Monday. So at worst, we're gonna be having our podcast uploaded on Tuesdays, by Tuesday morning, I would say. So, I have a lot of friends, well, a good amount of friends that in the past they've asked me, "Are you dropping the pod this week? Are you dropping the pod?" And that lets me know that they were kind of wanting to know when a specific time and day it would release, and no more am I going to have to say, "Oh, we're going to record it tomorrow," or "Oh, I'm going to get it up tomorrow." So now, those are that you listen, I appreciate you guys all. Now you'll know Tuesday morning the pod should be up. And yes, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. So I'm excited to, have a page on Instagram and TikTok, and that way we can, get our name out there a little bit more. So enough with that. We will go into NFL Week 17 recap. Like I said, I didn't make any picks, money line picks. I kind of just lost track of the days. Stefan did make money line picks, and he actually is doing pretty well in his pool. So I'll let you tell everybody about that and your picks from this past week.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Christmas Day games weren't very entertaining. Although your Broncos made it entertaining, it shouldn't have been very entertaining. But I don't know how the third string quarterback for the Chiefs made it entertaining. But those games, I missed the Vikings and Detroit. I thought Detroit would have a little bit more pride than they did, and that was a surprise to me. So that was one of the games I missed. I missed the Carolina Panthers because every time I pick them to win, they lose. So I lost that game, although that was a tough game. It was against Seattle. I felt like Seattle could win, but I was like, man, every time I pick against Seattle, they win. They're at home. They're a solid home team this year. So they played the Rams really tough at home, and I figured that they could do the same with Seattle. Didn't happen. And then I missed my Super Bowl preview that I said earlier this year. I thought that Green Bay and Baltimore would be my Super Bowl teams. Obviously, there's been a lot going on with the Ravens this year with injuries and just kind of losing their mojo. And then other end of the spectrum as well with Green Bay, also injuries going on there. Jordan Love didn't play. So when I picked that game, I didn't realize Jordan Love wasn't playing. I know he was in concussion protocol, but when I picked it, because made the picks on Wednesday, he was questionable, I believe, or something like this. So I ended up picking, or I thought Jordan Love was going to play. If he wasn't going to play, I would have picked the Ravens, and he didn't play. The Ravens won. I picked Green Bay, so I lost that game. And then there's one other game I lost. We talked about it before. I don't remember. Let me check
Yeah.
real quick. It was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, I don't know what's up with them, man. I know they've really been banged up, but everyone's banged up this time of the year. So Miami has been playing well at the end of the year, and they beat Tampa. Didn't see that coming. But I did pick the big upset, which I did pick the Browns. A lot of that was I just really believe that their defense was going to show up against Aaron Rodgers. I knew Myles Garrett was trying to get that record sack, and I knew it was going to be kind of an ugly game. And I felt like after what the Pittsburgh Steelers did last week against Detroit, it just seemed like that was a big emotional win for them. And then they had to see what happened with the Green Bay Ravens game, and then because they were probably thinking that okay, Green Bay is going to win this game, they might not even have to play the starters, Pittsburgh, the next day. But they ended up having to play, and they weren't ready. So, and now that division's up in the air, and my Super Bowl pick is still alive. So I needed that one. So let's go Ravens, and I'm rooting them on to see if they can make a little bit of a push here into the playoffs.
There's a little bit of drama going on in Baltimore. It just takes one guy to come out with an article, one beat writer for the team to come out with an article, and apparently I'm paraphrasing, but there was some article that recently came out saying Lamar Jackson, he plays video games up till 4 in the a.m. and he's just late to meetings and isn't focused on meetings. I don't know if I believe all that, but it's just a little drama going on, and you got the drama with the coach. Are they going to move on from their coach Harbaugh? And it all comes down to just the record and expectations. This team has had high expectations for 4 or 5 years now, and rightfully so when you have a quarterback that's won the MVP twice. So I'm sure, their expectations are, higher than what they are right now with their current record. So we'll see how it shakes out with the Ravens. I always root for Lamar to do well. But we'll see. They're 8-8. They're playing the Steelers. We'll go into that a little bit later, who are 9-7. So good job on your picks last week. You probably would have beat me. That would have been a nice little week for you. Convenient of me to not make my picks, last week. Week 18. It pretty much comes down to what? 2 matchups for the playoffs. It comes down to the Panthers and Buccaneers, and then it comes down to the Ravens and Steelers. So
Yeah, that's just as far as the teams getting in. There are some games that matter for playoff seeding. But yeah,
yes,
the actual teams that get in, those are the 2 games that will determine the winner of those games will live on.
exactly. And there's that was going to be my next question. So is it pretty much a lock that the Seahawks and Broncos are going to get the number 1 seeds in their respective conferences? I think it is yes. Right before we got on this pod, it came out that the Chargers are going to rest Herbert, and I expected that. They're going to rest Herbert, and I'm sure they're going to rest some other guys as well. So the spread jumped from -7 for the Broncos. Broncos are at home to, I think, -11.5 now for the Broncos to win. Chargers just there's nothing that they don't need to risk Herbert getting hurt or anyone else for that matter getting hurt. They've already had big injuries to their offensive line this year, and I don't think that they didn't win the division, so they know that they're going to be a road wild card team. So I think Broncos win that personally, bias aside, and they're going to get the number one seed, and I will get excited and think Super Bowl. And then Seahawks, looking at their current situation, I think that they're going to get it in. They're going to get it as well. Um, well, I guess it depends. If the Niners beat the Seahawks next week, does that put them? Do you know if that puts them as the number one seed?
Yeah, I think they're playing for the number one seed. I'm pretty sure that's how that's shaping up over there. So, um, yeah, when is that game?
That's 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Oh,
So it's going to
Saturday
be a
game.
great football weekend. You got the bowl games. You got Ohio State. I think that game is. I could be wrong, but I think that game is on
That's Wednesday. Ohio State plays
Wednesday, New
Wednesday.
Year's
Yeah.
Eve, right?
Yeah.
And then you got the New Year's Day three college football playoff games, and then Saturday you got Panthers Buccaneers, Seahawks Niners. So playoff implications and seeding implications, and then on Sunday you got Sunday night they flexed the Ravens Steelers. So yeah, I don't know. Now that we're talking about it, the 49ers could easily win that game, and they're home.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that game is there. Those are the Seahawks, 49ers, and then is there another team atop the NFC? The What's Philadelphia now? They're not close enough. So I think it's those two. Yeah, I think whoever wins that game is going to get the number one seed. So that's going to be an amazing game.
Yeah, I mean, you saw I mean, that game last night was really good. I wouldn't have watched that game intently like I normally don't do with NFC games, but yesterday my eyes were glued to that Bears game, Bears 49ers, because yeah, I mean, I had fantasy football implications. So it turned out to be a really good game. Long story short, I need Matt Stafford tonight to score less than 27 fantasy points. So if he has less than three touchdowns, I think I'm going to win. But if he has more than three touchdowns and a bunch of yards, I'm going to lose. So I'd win the fantasy championship, $900. Second place
Oh, dang,
gets
nice.
yeah, second place gets 475. So I really could use this $900 right now with the wedding and stuff. So my eyes were glued to that game. He had DeAndre Swift, and Swift, got some late touchdowns. But long story short, yeah, the Niners looked pretty good yesterday, but the defense obviously didn't look great. So I'm gonna go with the Niners to get the number one seed because I just trust the coach and the quarterback more than I do the coach and the quarterback of the Seahawks.
Yeah, if we're making our picks on these important games next week, I'm also going to pick the 49ers in that game. I mean, 49ers at home, like you said, they got a more proven coach. They have, in my opinion, a better quarterback, one that doesn't seem to crack under pressure. So I like the 49ers. And just imagine that path that was set up for them. They get the number one seed. The Super Bowl is in their stadium. Man, they could play all home games all through the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. So I think 49ers have a good chance to make that happen.
that's crazy. That's not fair. That would
Yeah, I
not
know,
be
right?
fair if they if they got to play a Super Bowl at home.
What about the other games? You want to pick the other two games that are important then? So,
Well, well, yeah, we'll do that. Let me know. Do you think the Broncos? Because the original question,
oh,
do you
gotcha,
think the
gotcha.
Seahawks and Broncos? So, do you think the Broncos are going to lock up that
Yeah,
number one
yeah.
seed?
So if it's as simple as the Broncos winning against the Chargers, I think that's a given. Although you saw what happened with the Chiefs this past week, I don't think they'll mess around again. I think, like you said, I think the Chargers aren't in position to play their starters. Their team has been banged up. Justin Herbert's been playing injured a lot of the year, so I think it would be really wise of the Chargers to go ahead and give their guys a break if they can't move it all in the standings. They know what's going to happen. They can't win their division, etc. So I think it's smart for them to get an extra rest week for their players. So yeah, I think Denver has the edge there, hands down, to win the division in the AFC.
Okay. And then Panthers, Buccaneers. Yes, we can make our picks now on these playoff implication games. So Panthers, Buccaneers. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Panthers. Buccaneers are just trending. They've been trending down for way too long for me to continue to go with them. I mean, Baker Mayfield. You look at his stats and you look at his play lately. This guy went from MVP talks to, I mean, not even playing like starting caliber quarterback play. I mean, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I don't know what's going on there. They might be looking for a new coach in the offseason. I'm going to go with the Panthers to win that game. And then, like we were talking about earlier with the Seahawks Niners, I'm going to go with the Niners just because of the quarterback and coach. And then lastly, with the Ravens Steelers at home. The Ravens are banged up. Mike Tomlin usually wins these type of games, so I'm going to go with the Steelers to beat the Ravens on Sunday night.
All right, so looking at the Carolina game, I cannot get them right. I just cannot get them right. I've got them right like twice all year, and I'm gonna go the opposite end. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. I think that Baker, like you said, he has had this crazy year where he was MVP talks, and then all of a sudden he fell off a cliff. But it wasn't just like him falling off a cliff, as their team was just so battered, like injuries everywhere. But I still believe in Baker Mayfield more than I believe in Bryce Young. And it seems like Carolina definitely plays a lot better at home. This game is in Tampa. So I like the Buccaneers to figure out a way to win. I trust Baker more, and I think that he can make some more plays than Bryce can, and they can get the win and kind of get into the playoffs and lose in the first round.
Yeah.
The other game, what was the second one you wanted to?
So it's the Niners
Yeah.
and Seahawks. Yep.
49ers, yeah, we just spoke about that one. Again, leaning big on the quarterbacks this time of year. Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold. So 49ers get the win there. And then the Ravens and the Steelers. Do you have any idea if Lamar Jackson is playing?
It's still up in the air.
All right. Well, I have to ride with the Ravens. They're my Super Bowl pick, and I just think that they have more talent overall than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And after watching the Pittsburgh Steelers play against the Browns, I think their offense is really going to struggle without DK Metcalf. They just were looking for an answer from the receivers. They just couldn't find anything. So I think that's going to be a problem again, and I think the Ravens will capitalize on that. Hopefully Lamar plays, and even if he doesn't, I think the Ravens showed that they kind of had a better understanding of what to do with the offensive side of the ball. Just give the ball to Derrick Henry and let him ride you to victory. So I think that they'll continue with that trend if Lamar plays or not. I like the Ravens to get into the playoffs and see if they can, like you said, with their high expectations, actually live up to them a little bit.
Okay. So if everything goes as we say it's going to go, it's shaped out to be a really surprising 2025 NFL season, regular season, especially after the last couple years of it just felt like the Chiefs and the Eagles, and then Tom Brady when he was there. It just felt like the same teams winning every year. So this is really a great season that no one would have guessed. No one would have guessed the Broncos to be the 1 seed. They wouldn't have guessed the Seahawks to be the 1 seed. And then you got teams that are making the playoffs that you weren't so sure they were even going to make the playoffs, with the Jags and who else? The Jags and the Panthers have a possibility to make the playoffs. So
Patriots are ahead of schedule.
Patriots are ahead of schedule. Yeah, Patriots and the Broncos, 1 and 2 seeds. So very, very interesting year to say the least. So I can't wait for the playoffs. I'm going to be nervous when it's time for the Broncos to play a playoff football game. Man, I am going to be shaking in my boots. But that is it. That is it for the NFL. It's crazy that we're already about getting to the playoffs. We started this pod pretty much when the season started, and it is flying by. And NBA season is it's been going on. We've talked about the NBA Cup. We've talked about who we thought might go to the finals. But we haven't talked much about the NBA, and now we're going to start transitioning. I mean, playoffs are going to be here for the NFL, and all that good stuff. But there's not going to be that many games to go over. So now it's going to really we're going to start really digging deep into the NBA. I have my NBA League Pass. I'm going to make sure I'm watching more games. So there's a few things that I want to talk about in the NBA going on right now. And one of the things is the Cleveland Cavaliers and Donovan Mitchell. So they've pretty much ran it back with their squad for the past 2 or 3 years now. And Kenyon Martin made some interesting comments about Donovan Mitchell and his Gilbert Arenas' Arena podcast. And so, paraphrasing, Kenyon Martin basically said Donovan Mitchell doesn't make players around him better. And I kind of started to think that, in the past, I agree with this because I feel like Donovan Mitchell has been trying to be the guy on a championship team for 8 years now with the Jazz and with the Cavs. And something about him and his play, I mean, he scores, he gets assists. He's a really good NBA player. I mean, close to a superstar. I wouldn't say he's a superstar, but close. But I kind of agree with Kenyon Martin because the amount of ball usage Donovan Mitchell has, if he averages like five for his whole career, about 5 assists a game. I think if that man was averaging 8, 9, 10 assists a game, his teams would be doing a lot better. But come playoff time and come these big games, you even saw with the NBA Christmas game, he's taking a lot of shots and he wants to be this guy. He wants to be the guy on this championship type team. So I'm kind of agreeing with Kenyon Martin. What do you think of his comments of Donovan Mitchell doesn't make players around him better?
I think it's hard for me to say that. I think it's a kind of low hanging fruit right now because they're struggling this year. But if you look at their team last year, I mean, they were on a tear as far as regular season, how they played. It looked like they had pretty good chemistry. Donovan Mitchell wasn't, as far as me, I didn't watch him in the Cavs game, but just thinking about the games I did watch, and because I like Donovan Mitchell, I don't remember him being super ball dominant like he was in Utah. It seems like they kind of tried to get the ball moving more the last year. Now this past, like starting right now, so far this season, I have no idea what's going on with the Cavs. Like they have the same team and they're just falling apart right in front of our eyes, which is really surprising to me. But yeah, I don't think that's necessarily that's not what I would agree with. I can see it now how he's playing, he's trying to will this team to victory, and it's not working. And the strategy he's using might be more ball dominant. Maybe he shouldn't be doing that. Try to go back to what they were doing last year. But yeah, I think last year showed that he can be a team player and be on a good quality team. I just think they didn't win, and there are some good teams they had to compete with. I mean, Indiana, no one really saw Indiana make it to the championship last year. But if you look at the teams that are in the championship last year, Thunder, Indiana, they played pretty good team basketball. Thunder kind of lean heavy into some ISO ball with Shea, but
Yep.
overall, they still play good ball. Like everyone's involved. So I can understand why he would say that, but I think it's more just kind of prisoner of the moment. I think last year he showed that he can be a player that can get others involved.
Yeah, I would go with the prisoner of the moment. I would lean that way if it wasn't like this has been Donovan Mitchell for 8 years. This has been what you're seeing this year is he's never been to a conference finals. This has been he's been the guy on teams for 8 years now, and they've never been into the conference finals. He doesn't go to multiple rounds in the playoffs and win because he's the guy. And I just think if he would move the ball around a little bit more, maybe take second fiddle. I mean, I don't know he would be the second guy to on that Cavs team. I understand why he would be the number one option on that team, but this has just been 8 years of this, and it's a pattern now. It's not just like, oh, this is all this, this has only happened a couple of years. This has happened 7 8 years,
Yeah,
and
I think if you're
so
looking at it over the stretch of his career, that is true that he plays like that. But if you look at it in Utah, he was hands down their best player as far as offensive scoring.
and he's hands down the Cavs' best player right
Well,
now.
the Cavs team, I think he has more ability to get others involved, to have ability to put the ball in the hoop. We got Garland. I think Mobley's pretty. He's not like a scorer, but he can get some buckets. Like, they have a good team. They got some shooters around him. So I think, and we saw that last year. So I think it's like, you're right that most of his career he's been playing like this, and I think last year was the exception. So it was almost kind of what prisoner of the moment. It wasn't the best way to put it, because he showed that he could be more of a team player last year. Then he kind of reverted back to what he was doing in Utah, and so yeah, maybe that's just kind of what he is. But at the same time, he's never been on a team that has someone equal to him or better as far as who can put the ball in the hoop. So I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
It's a good conversation, and it's important to know, like, we don't, I mean, we're not going to agree on everything. We don't have to agree on everything, and that's good. It's just, I hate to say this because he's the reason why I love basketball, and he's the reason why I love the Magic, but it's Donovan Mitchell is a similar career type as a Tracy McGrady, Carmelo Anthony, a guy that is a high volume scorer, but it just doesn't fit into championship, win multiple rounds of the playoffs. When these type of guys, Melo, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the guy to take this team on. You're not the guy. You're a really good player. T-Mac, same thing. I'm going to be the guy. It took forever did T-Mac win a first round playoff? I don't know. If he did, it took him forever to win one round. And he was the guy on all those teams. So I don't know. I just think I personally think the Cavs have a ton of talent. I think Darius Garland's good. I think Evan Mobley's good. I think Jared Allen, DeAndre Hunter. I think this team, like, I don't know. Look, you put the Pacers ball movement and coaching on this Cavs team last year. I mean, the sky's the limit. But who knows? Something's going to happen soon, because they're 17-16. They've been running this team back 3 years now. Something's going to happen. I don't know if Darius Garland's going to get traded, but I agree with Kenyon Martin, and I think something's going to happen soon. I don't know if Mitchell would ever leave, or if he would retire as a Cav, but it's not looking good in Cleveland.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that something's going to change, which is unfortunate, because I do think I like the makeup of that team. I think that team, I picked them when we talked about who we think was going to the finals, are way too early NBA picks before the season. I was like, oh, this Cavs team is nice still. And they're running it back. I think they'll be good, but they've fallen apart here. So I don't know. They can still turn it around.
They can. Good luck to the Cavs. Good luck to the Cavs and Mitchell and Garland. I hope they can work it out. Another thing that I want to point to, Garland's like 6'2" and Mitchell's 6'2". So that's a tough defensive. 6'2", you're the smallest guy on the court. And to have two of those guys when you're in a playoff series is probably tough. It's probably tough for them to defend with those two, guys at 6'2".
Yeah, height is so much in the NBA. so yeah, I agree on that, man. 6'2" is got two guards that can get picked on the defensive end for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got 10 minutes left here, so I'm going to talk about your guy. A lot of people's guys. One of the best players to ever play, LeBron James. Is retirement evident, because I'm seeing this guy practicing his golf swings. I'm seeing JJ Redick, say, Bron. And then eventually JJ Redick has to call timeout, and the Cavs are down 21 points to the Suns, and LeBron's hee-hee-ha-ha on the bench to another team while they're down 21 points. So I am not seeing this man bought in, and I've never seen this out of LeBron. That's one thing I've always been a LeBron doubter and hater, comparing him to MJ. Anyway, all the other stuff, he's a great player, but I have to give it to him. He's always been locked in, and I don't see the locked in right now. I don't. When you're down 21 points and you're losing, you're joking around and you're practicing your golf swing. I don't know. His birthday's in 2 days. He'll be 41 years old. What do you think is going on with LeBron? Is retirement evident?
Yeah, I think I've watched as a LeBron fan, pretty much the last of our generation as far as, you and I and people our age growing up, what we really were like, dang, like when we really became NBA fans, LeBron's the last one, really, man. He's like KD kind of, sort of, Steph a little bit, but I mean, he's the last one hanging on. And you're right, he's lost his edge. And as a LeBron fan, it's like I don't really care to watch him as much as I could, even just last year. But I think it's not necessarily about, this is just my hunch, it's not necessarily about him feeling like he's ready to retire, maybe. I think it's more about he just doesn't think that this team has a chance to win and go far and have a championship run, which even if he feels that way, you would hope that any athlete would still put his best foot forward and still lock in and focus. But after 21 or 22, however many years it's been, maybe that's hard for him to do, and he is just kind of enjoying these moments now. But you're right, it doesn't seem like he's taking it as a serious, and I think a lot of that is just because he doesn't think his team can make it far. But maybe if he took it more serious, maybe they'll probably be better. But yeah, looking at the landscape of the NBA, it does feel like it is kind of open. So as a LeBron fan, I'm like, yo, bro, like, come on, man, like you can make a run. Like the Thunder are good, but you can beat the Thunder, maybe. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I think that if he was on a team where it's like, okay, this team should win the title, he'd be more locked in. But he's just kind of like, yeah, we ain't got it, so whatever. And you don't want to see that, and that hurts to see as a sports fan and as a LeBron fan. So maybe he's getting ready to hang it up.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the off season. I do see him like having a farewell tour, so it would be shocking if he just retired without having that. But yeah, man, I was looking at his stats the other day. I'm like, man, he's never like, I don't know, his stats are just like dropping a little bit, and I'm like, even when I feel like he's felt like teams haven't been able to compete for a championship, he's taken those type of teams to the finals, and like,
Yeah, I think he feels like he can't do that anymore. I think he knows that, or that maybe he feels that way. So he's like, whatever. Because you're right. Like he's definitely been on teams in the past where it looked like they probably shouldn't win, but he's LeBron, so he figured out a way to get them at least to a high competitive playoff series or to the championship. But yeah, it's not looking like he can do that anymore, and you can't expect a 41-year-old to be able to do that.
Father time never fails. And honestly, I hope that he retires on his own at, as healthy as he is, because most of these guys, Kobe, it was an injury. A lot of the times when you get to that age, it's a big injury. You're like, all right, well, I'm just not the same anymore. So I hope LeBron, just doesn't have a major injury and just retires.
My biggest hope as a LeBron fan is, whatever's going on in Cleveland, go ahead, send LeBron back home, get that team right, because there's nobody in the East, like no one in the East that you really, really are like, this team's going to the championship. You put LeBron on that team, maybe he helps with that ball movement, brings up the spirits because LeBron's back home, blah, blah, blah. And then they make a title run, probably losing the finals. But hey, that would be cool, man. That's what I want to see. I don't think it would happen, but that would be like the ultimate ending to LeBron's career, is to go back to Cleveland and see if he can get back to the finals. Obviously, it'd be much easier in the East right now with the injuries to a lot of like the Boston players, Indiana. There's not really a super dominant team in the East.
That would be cool. But with Savannah and she ain't having it, and then you got Bronny on the Lakers. It's just not happening. Listen. Prime example. You and Erica don't want to be in Ohio. You know, Savannah Savannah's not going to leave LA. So, um, okay, just a few more minutes. I wanted to go over Paolo Banchero's struggles a little bit. I know you're not a big Magic guy, so it's probably just me a little bit, me more inventing it out. Not too stressed out, not too worried with the struggles. The only thing I would like to see more is Paolo and Franz on the court together for a long, extended amount of time. Because last season, Franz was out and Paolo was playing, and then Paolo was out and Franz was playing, and then Paolo was out. Franz got hurt this year, so like they just. I don't think these guys. These guys are two young, 6'10", really good players, but they can't really build chemistry because they haven't stayed healthy together. So Paolo's struggling a little bit. His last three games: 12 points, 13 points, 12 points. Now the caveat with that, I will say, is Anthony Black is rising. Anthony Black is here. He had 38 points the other day. He is balling, man, and I'm so happy that they did not trade him. And then Bane is balling as well right now. And I actually am going to give Paolo some credit here because I did say 12 points, 13 points, 12 points in the last three games. But you know how many shots he took? 13 shots, and 8 shots. So Powell is understanding when we move this ball around, we are a more competitive team. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, on Paolo, on Franz, on Anthony Black or Desmond Bain. I know you've talked about Bain a little bit, but do you think this is Paolo? He's going to continue to trend down, and he's having a slump, and this is just the player he is, or do you think he'll bounce back?
Yeah, I think Van Carroll, I would imagine he would bounce back. Like he's definitely capable. For me, I think the next biggest step in his game is just trying to figure out if he can be more of a threat from the perimeter consistently. Because he's overall he does a little bit of everything. He's a good quality player, but if he can start knocking down a deep ball, that would really help with their overall spacing on that team. Because like you've seen, like you said, that Black is starting to fill into his role, starting to expand his role. Bain is a shooter. Franz, he's got a pretty good jumper too. Like the team is definitely capable, and if they can play a complete five-out offense and move and kind of have a real good spacing, that team's gonna be hard to beat, and that can kind of be similar to what you saw with like Indiana last year, or to a certain degree like Oklahoma City has some big actual threats. Like they don't necessarily always play five out, but when Chet's
Yeah.
playing at the five, they have a really good ability to move the ball and everyone can score from every position. And that's kind of what could happen in Orlando. So I think that he should start to find his like niche in that overall team as everyone gets healthy, and it's going to look more than just 13 14 points. Like he should be going towards that 20-24 range pretty consistently in my opinion. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think they just need to have some more time together to gel. Also, bringing Bane in this year is new too, so it's not just
Yep.
injuries, it's also just new player acquisitions. So overall, they just need more time. It's hard. Basketball is a chemistry game. So once you guys get that established, everyone should be good, and you guys will be able to fill your role.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
think the team was better too when he's not their primary scorer. I
Yes,
don't
because it
think
slows the
he,
game down. It slows the movement
yeah,
around. He's more of an ISO guy. So,
exactly.
but he can move the ball around. He just knows he's 6'10", 250 pounds. So he's just like, I'm just gonna take this to the cup. So, all right, last topic, just quick. I cannot see this guy playing in another uniform, but where there's smoke, there could be fire. Is Giannis going to get traded, man? What's going on with Giannis and the Bucks? Because Giannis is a guy that is loyal. He had his family living with him for a couple years. He's got his brother on his team that shouldn't even be in the NBA. He's not the big partier. He's not the big city guy. He is, he's the type of guy I could see on one team in his entire career. It's like Jokic. I can't see Jokic not playing on the Nuggets ever. Do you see Giannis getting traded?
Yeah, I think Giannis is going to get traded. I think both sides should want this. I think Milwaukee should want it, and I think Giannis should want it. I don't know if you would say want it, but like I feel like they both know it is time. Milwaukee's tried everything. You can't say they didn't try. They tried so many things to get this team back to the promised land. You know, bringing in Damian Lillard. They've tried. There's been multiple there. I can't even remember off the top of my head, but I know they tried. It ain't for
Yep.
fault of not trying. And then Giannis is
Miles
still,
Turner.
yeah, Miles Turner. They're still producing. Or Giannis is still producing when he's playing. It's just they don't have it, man. And I think that Milwaukee can make a trade, get some fresh assets in, and kind of turn the page. And then Giannis can go on to a team where he can be part of a championship run again. So, and it also it's hard for like when you're playing somewhere like Milwaukee, Cleveland, like no one's gonna really want to come to you in free agency. So they have to make a lot of these trades in order to get someone there. So it's not like you can expect, oh yeah, so and so is a free agent, they're about to come play with Giannis. Like that's it's not really likely, especially because Giannis also isn't that type of personality where he's super collaborative, from my
Yeah.
understanding. I think people like him, but I don't think you're not seeing him at off-season, basketball camps with all the other NBA stars type stuff. He's maybe in Greece or doing whatever. So I think it's good that he moves on. I think one of the Texas teams would be fantastic for him. Um, I think Houston might be out of the picture now because they did KD. But I think if he could go to the Spurs, ooh, that would be dangerous. The Spurs have a lot of assets. I don't know if they want to mess up what they got going on because they're kind of on a roll right now. But if they could bring Giannis in with Wemby, oh,
How are you
that's
supposed to score on that team?
that's dangerous, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that Milwaukee is going to move on. I think Giannis should want to move on, and it's 2025. No one's going to give him hate for leaving. Like in the
No.
old NBA, you're more likely to see these guys stick around, but you got to use movement to your advantage now. And if you want to go down as one of the best ever and stay relevant, then it's time for you to move on.
Giannis, if my opinion matters, if you're hearing this somewhere, if my opinion matters, man, your legacy is already made, man. You took the Milwaukee Bucks and won an NBA championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. If you stay with that team for your entire career, it would your legacy would be just as good as if you went somewhere else and like even made it to the finals but didn't win. So I think you should stay, but I get it, man. It's hard to get players in Milwaukee, and he's getting older, so we'll see what happens. But that's it. We
Damn,
got a
bro,
hard
you don't
stop.
want to stay cold all the time, bro. Come on, go to Texas or something. I don't. I'm not a Texas fan. I'm not a fan of the San Antonio, of Dallas or nothing. But it would be nice to see Giannis in some high playoff games again.
What was the temperature yesterday in where you reside? Because it was 60 degrees here yesterday. I played golf.
Yeah, I heard it was nice. It was about the same here.
Okay, well there you go. We get a little sprinkles there here and there, you know.
Yep, yep. Okay, Ohio, not too bad.
Yeah, and today felt like one. So we're talking a
Oh,
50, 60 degree difference in one day. So that's Ohio. Okay, well, that's it. NBA heavy. So I'm excited to get this one out to the friends and family. NBA heavy, and I know you got a hard stop here in 2 minutes. So anything else you'd like to add?
nope. No, I just got to get back to work, bro. You know the deal.
Yep. Get back to work and enjoy the rest of your evening. Please root for Matt Stafford to not go off tonight because I could use that $900. Yeah, yeah. And
Oh yeah,
good luck with your picks if you're gonna win. I'm not sure what the
yeah. That
tiebreaker
needs to
is.
be 51 points.
Exactly.
I
Or is
need
it
51
closest to
points. Like the closest to
total?
51, but there's a couple people that had like 57 or like 48, so it's got to be pretty damn near 51.
Damn. All right. I'll be rooting for the
Yeah.
51 then.
Yep, for sure, for sure. All right, man.
All right.
Well,
Later.
peace.